How's it going, folks? My name's Matthew, aka EZBOT, and we're back with another live stream. Today we're going to talk about the Digitakt II and the Digitone II together. What it means to have them together and how much ground does it cover. And there's a reason why I keep using the same gear over and over again is because I still can't find stuff that is better than what I have on my table. And this is all, of course, just my opinion. This isn't fact by any means. You decide what is good for you. But for me, what I think has been the best that I've come across so far is what I have on my table right now. And that is the Digitakt II and the Digitone II and the Octatrack. Of course, the surrounding gear is also stuff that I consider to be amazing and my favorite stuff as well, like the M8 tracker, my MIDI controller that I have over here. But this, I think, as far as 2024 goes, is top tier. This is the best stuff that you can get right now, and I think it accomplishes all your musical goals that you would need in terms of being a hardware producer or a hardware software hybrid producer. This has all the ground covered. One thing I do want to mention before we get too far into this stream is sponsored by DistroKid. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring the stream. DistroKid is an online music distribution platform that can get your music out to all the streaming platforms for one really, really low price. So thank you for help funding this channel, DistroKid. Back over here, I want to make some music today, but I also want to just have a discussion about this and get other people's opinions on what they think to be like the epitome of the ultimate setup. So for me, what kind of like makes the ultimate setup is something that I can both use to make what I consider professional quality audio, like professional quality music, where I'm inspired by the devices. So not just how good they sound, but how inspiring they are to me. Am I even aesthetically attracted to the device? I think that's actually really important. Teenage engineering, pointing at them, like they're using that particularly to draw their audience, right? Just the aesthetics alone is enough for people to pick up their instruments. So that's an important aspect of it. But also the connectivity. How is it going to communicate with my computer, with my DAW? Being a dawless music producer is a fable. That's like not really a thing. Like we're all DAW producers, whether we use hardware or not. It's just where does the music stem from? So for me, these devices are the best of the best. I mean, there's a lot of other Electron boxes that fall into this category and other devices that offer stem export or USB audio or even multi-track USB audio like some of the Polyend devices can do. But overbridge being what it is, you know, once it's, you know, finally polished for both these devices, we know what overbridge is like on Digitakt I and Digitone I, and it's a fantastic experience. What overbridge is like on you know, Rhythm and Analog 4. And it's a really great experience to integrate these devices with your DAW. And that's something that these offer. And just whether or not I'm using that to its full potential, just knowing that that's available to me at all times when I want to take a track and bring it into my computer to completion and, you know, fully mix and master it to the degree that a DAW offers you, I think that's really important, and that's something that these devices offer. So I have a lot of gear in the studio. I have a lot of Grooveboxes. I find that, you know, the kind of music producer that I am and the kind of person that I am in terms of how I like to make my music is very hands-on. Like, I really want to touch everything, and I find myself just really gravitating towards machines that let me do everything all in one box. Like, I really like that aspect of it. And, you know, and there's always sacrifices that end up having to be made when a machine can do all the things, right? That's kind of where Electron nails things. So like you buy a couple different boxes and it ends up being a lot of money. A Digitakt II and a Digitone II and an Octatrack, we're talking $3,500, not including tax, right? That's a lot of money. This is a huge investment. I just have these three pieces of equipment that I'm talking about on the table. You could get something like an M8 tracker for $550 or a Polyend tracker for $650 or a Deluge for $1,500 and have it all in one box. We're talking synthesizers, samplers, arrangers, and then stem export or USB audio, multi-tracking. You can do that. With those boxes I mentioned, they have those features. Polyend for the multi-track, and then the Deluge and the M8 tracker for stem export. So you can get all that done for less money than these boxes do, and they all have performance effects and all that kind of stuff. However, every time that I compare the sound quality of my Digitakt II, now the Digitone II, which sounds phenomenal and just offers you so much, plus the performance effects that I can do with something like an Octatrack where I can design effects, I just can't. I just can't beat that quality. I can't beat the hands-on control that you can get with a Digitakt and the Digitone. And particularly with the Digitone right now in terms of like doing techno, in particular techno and other like pattern-based revolving pattern where you can sit on one pattern and adjust sounds. A box like the Digitone II is exceptional for this. FM synthesis is exceptional for this. And it has a great like workflow for designing sounds and for manipulating sounds without destroying your patterns, like the perform kit mode or even function yes, function no, just to reload your boxes. I find that to be extremely powerful. And this is something you can use not just only while you're designing your music, but in a live situation as well. So to me, I think that there really isn't more that you need than what I'm displaying on the table. Like imagine the tracker isn't here and the radial engineering isn't here and Chic isn't here and the Delia isn't over here and everything else that's in here, which like you can see a Deluge in the corner here. Imagine those things aren't here. This is all you would need to, I believe, to go and play phenomenal shows, have full hands-on control of all of your performances, all of your effects, all of your sound design, to be able to manipulate it very quickly, very easily. These boxes, because they're mostly identical in terms of workflow, you can just translate your ideas very quickly, and you can also perform with them very easily because they offer the same feature package. And so this is kind of like where I keep getting stuck. Like I love music gear, and that's what drew me to like working in a synthesizer shop for years, and what draws me to buying more gear. Like I love the experience of learning something new and seeing what other people's ideas have translated into these new pieces of hardware. How does this sound? Am I going to like their synthesis? Am I going to like their workflow more than this, and that? And I'm always drawing my comparison back to these boxes right here. Every time. No matter what I pick up, I'm always drawing the comparison. Can it do what my Digitakt can do? Can I parameter lock 16 different parameters on a single step? Usually the answer is no. Often the answer is no. And that's it. Like that's when you figure it out and you know that you have the stuff, there's not really, the search is over. What drives you to not just sit down and make music? Like what is it? I feel like there's this conundrum that happens is like I have the kit now. There is no reason not to just be sitting here and pumping out bangers. And then it's like there's an existential crisis that's starting. There's a bunch of other calamities in the universe right now that can kind of distract you and dissuade you from using your gear and searching for a new piece of gear, because the search itself is this whole wonderful experience, despite the money leaving your bank account, but the search for it is this fantasy that you live in. And I find myself in that fantasy a lot. I don't think I am benefiting from being in that fantasy. It's distracting. But I think that if you have what's on this table right now, I'm telling you, you have that you have the best of the best. And there's not anything out there that's really better, in my opinion, in terms of live performance and music production and the hands-on experience with the sound quality and the options for recording to your computer. You've got it already. You're done. Now it's time to make music. And so that's what we're going to do today. I wanted to have that conversation. I wanted to discuss that a little bit because I don't think there's anybody in particular out there who needs to hear my opinion on that. It's like I'm as unimportant as anybody else. But maybe it resonates with you, and maybe it's what you need to hear. Maybe it's what I need to say so I can hear myself say it, so I can sit down and just make some music. So while we're discussing this, I want to mention that I am doing a music compilation on my Discord right now. And we're doing a Dub Techno compilation, and I want to invite anyone and everyone who's participates in the EZBOT Discord, which there's free access to. It's a public Discord you can join, to to do the compilation. And how it's going to work is we're going to do a Dub Techno compilation, and you're just going to upload your track, however you finished it, however you mastered it, to SoundCloud, and you're going to send me a link eventually. There's a sign up in the Discord, and then I'm just going to host it on my electronic music website. I'm going to host your SoundCloud embed and share it in email list. And I just want to invite people to come and join me as we make music and finish a Dub Techno track that only requires at least one piece of hardware to be included in the compilation. And let's make some music together. Let's get inspired by what we have and use it as we go into the Christmas season, because things are crazy right now. Economy stuff is just totally insane. Prices for things is totally insane. Let's take advantage of the stuff that we have and make some music together. So just extending that invite. Check it out. Join the EZBOT Discord. There'll be a link in the comments section after the stream for you to do that. That being said, I'm working on music on these boxes. So I'm starting a new set with these boxes. I keep starting over and like having a new idea. And this is one of the things that I've started working on. This is a Digitakt II, Digitone II production. And so this is some of the sounds. It was right when we started the stream. And I'm telling you, it sounds so good to me. I'm not using all the tracks. You can see I'm using about 5 tracks on my Digitakt II. 4 tracks on the Digitone II, and I don't need to add more. I think what I could do in this situation is have alternate patterns. I think like having so much of this gear together, like having so many tracks, actually, hold on, let's go back to something really quick. So I was talking about how this is all you need on the table. Well, there's a couple reasons that I didn't mention. And another reason why this is all you need is because we have 32 freaking tracks to sequence stuff. 16 stereo sample tracks with 8 pages of sequencing. 16 16 tracks of audio, not stereo, because it doesn't have like stereo synths on the Digitone, but I guess it does when you use the unison. But anyway, 16 tracks of sequencing over here, and now the Digitone II has its virtual analog engines, which sound great. They sound good enough for me to make the sounds that I need for my music production. 32 tracks. What do I need to add to? Do I need any more than 32 tracks? I don't use 32 tracks when I'm making music on my computer. I have, but I don't want to. It's a lot. It's a lot to work with. It's too many sounds playing all at the same time, right? I don't need 32 simultaneous tracks playing at once. So we got to think about, what do we do with that many tracks? That's why I don't want to have more gear than I have displayed on the table. Oh, these headphones are getting loose. Because I don't want more tracks. I feel like that desire to make another sound, that kind of thing, is really strong with hardware, because you are the limitation of the device kind of makes you express this desire to use it to its fullest, because you're there's all these limitations. I must take advantage of everything that it offers. But the truth is that you don't have to. We are now at the point where these things are basically the same as being in our DAW. The difference is that they don't have Google built into them. They don't have YouTube built into them. There's not video tutorials built into these devices, and they have buttons and hands-on control. That's what we want. Right? That's what I want. I want the buttons and the hands-on control. And I think that that's what makes this be all I need. Now I could replace this, I guess, with some other devices, but it's awesome. So it's not ready to go. But okay. So let's make some music. I like I said, I have this kind of dubby inspired thing I was working on. I don't know what's going on. My headphone cable is, I keep losing my left channel, and it's really frustrating. But I want to make something new. I want to make something new today. That's what I'm feeling. I want to be inspired by something. So I'm gonna go to a new pattern. I think I'll go to pattern 9. Add something here. Okay, so I'll tell you how I have things set up really quick, just so you can understand this. The Octatrack is my clock and pattern master. So when I hit play here, it ignites the engine of my music gear, right? However, my patterns are being conducted on my Digitakt. So I'm just clocking things. I'm treating this as this like de facto manager of the gear. It's like you can do performance stuff, you can change your tempo, you can do live looping. All of that happens here. And I don't need to memorize. What I need to do is write down the tempo of my tracks so that I can change tempos manually, because I'm not locking the tempo into the pattern. I'm locking the tempo into my head, I guess. So we're not locking the tempo. That's what I'm getting at. So when I write a new song, I have to write down what the tempo is so that I can transition that tempo, much like more of a classic DJ experience, or from what I understand, that would be more of like an old school classic DJ experience where I'm trying to transition from song to song from different tempos and different keys. I don't have to have that locked in, even though it's useful to have it locked in, but the way that I like to do it is so that I can move to different pieces of gear. So instead of moving from, a different record player, I can move from the M8 tracker to the Electron setup, from the Deluge to the Electron setup, or the Polygon tracker to the M8 tracker. I can do that seamlessly in a live setup when I have it routed this way, right? So this is just the conduit for all of that to happen very easily and smoothly. Okay, so it's sending clock out and transport. This is sending pattern change over here. You can see there's lots going on in the back here. I have a mixer over here that's kind of summing some devices in my studio. We got a guitar setup, a vocal setup over here, a poly synth over here. We got the Deluge over here, which I'm using kind of as this, currently, I'm making music on it, as well as, let's see if I have it running into, oh yeah, we were just there. Or no, it's on this one. My bad. This is the Deluge. It sounds awesome too. Like, it's a great sounding device. This is just me playing with it last night, just trying to write something chill, because I was chilling. And I think it sounds great. But one of the other things I've been doing on the Deluge is, because the community firmware that they added to the Deluge turns the Deluge into something that I've bought many devices to do this. Let me harp on this for 1 second. I don't know how many of you have bought a Chord bot, Isla, whatever, instruments Chord bot, or other theory boards. Just like, they're just devices that just have pre-programmed music theory, and they kind of just make it so you can go like C major 7, and then the next chord you go is correct. It's in the key, and you can just jump through keys. And it makes doing things like programming chord progressions or just sampling your synthesizers that don't necessarily have keyboards, or maybe you don't know music theory at all, or you don't know how to make chords, or you're just really slow at making chords and you just want to get those chords and test out different chords. That's why you buy these theory boxes, right? I've bought a number of them. I've tried tons of them. Even your Keystep 37's got that built-in theory stuff with chords. Like, it'll just constrain the notes to the chord if you stay in a scale mode and jump through the chords. And that's really cool. And it comes up with new ideas, and it just allows you to hear chords that maybe you didn't even know how to make. Like, do you know how to make a C sharp major 9 right off the bat? Like, can you just go, oh, bam, and just make that chord? Maybe you can't. A lot of people that are in electronic music, buying boxes and hardware like this, they don't know that stuff, and that's fine. You don't have to. We're hard, like, electronics and software is beyond that now. We don't have to know that stuff. And I know a lot of music producers would be like, shame on you for saying that, but who cares? We are going to vanish one day. You are going to disappear. Just enjoy yourself. That's, like, I feel so strongly about that. I just want to say that one day you're not going to be here. Have a good time. Don't worry about any of the other BS. Don't worry about what anybody's telling you about music stuff. Just have a good freaking time. So I think those theory boards and that kind of stuff, I think that stuff is useful. I think it's fun. It allows you to hear stuff you maybe don't know how to express yourself, and maybe you don't have time to go back to school for music theory. It takes a hell of a long time to learn that stuff. Okay, so that's my point. Those things are cool. I like them. I've bought a bunch of them. I do know some theory. I did go to school for music production, and I can make chord progressions on a keyboard. However, I'm not super fast at it. And I do love the idea of just like hitting a button and it sends a chord out. This is where my Digitakt II and my Deluge collaborate, and it's actually really sick. So, and I can, you know what, we can just scoot this over because the point of these streams is to hang out, chat about music gear, and I want to show stuff off. So let's just take a look at this really quick. Let's move the camera over and just kind of scoot the Deluge here. I know the point of the stream wasn't about the Deluge, because that's not, these cables are wrapped around a plant. Because the music doesn't work without plants, right? Okay, so I'm gonna make a new kit really quick on here, or not a new kit, I'm gonna make a new synth, but we're gonna turn it into a MIDI. So I'm gonna go in here and MIDI device, and now it's playing my Delia, which you can see right there. That's my Delia with the green caps on it. And I love this synth. I'm selling all my other synthesizers because this one does the trick. So now this is playing the Delia, which sounds awesome. Sounds better than the Deluge because it's a, you know, a pretty decently expensive, nice poly synth. Deluge sounds great, but I mean, this thing's job is just to make good sounding sounds. Its job's to do everything. Kind of like the Electron stuff. Digitone's job is to do everything FM related and sequencing related. Digitakt, everything sample related and sequencing related. This job is to do everything. One of the new features that the community firmware added to this that I really like in combination with my Delia or other synthesizers and a Digitakt II, considering its stereo, high quality sampling goodness, is this. You can change these keyboard modes. For one, just using the isometric keyboard is a cool experience on its own. Like, it's just fun. It's a pretty thing. It draws you in. You wanna hit these buttons, but if you hold this, we can change it to in key, or we can go into this lovely chord mode. And this is the thing. This is that one thing, the reason why you buy a chord bot, or you buy a Keystep 37 instead of the regular Keystep, or why you buy a theory board, or any of the other number of weird theory devices out there that are on Kickstarter right now, right? There's always one getting baked up, this like weird half-baked idea. Somebody, I'm not sure who, committed this to the community firmware, and it's dope. So check this out. This is all in the scale. If I change the scale, the chord offerings will change. Let me see. This is going into my Digitakt. So now if I want, what's really great, especially for making like drum and bass, is having something like this that can just give you chord stabs or house, you know, stuff that's just like, give me a chord stab, I want to sample it into my dope sampler. This is that thing. I have it. The Deluge does it for me. This makes the Deluge totally unsellable to me. It makes it a device that's just, it's going to be in the studio forever. I've had one before, I sold it because I was just so in love with Electron stuff, and then I got one again, and now it's like, it has every utility I could ever need. It even has drum pads for drumming. But this right here is actually the thing that I'm using it the most for right now. I'm just using it to send chords out to my devices, and I'm just, you know, playing with the idea. I don't know, even, it doesn't matter what chord I hit. I'm just hitting these buttons and listening. So the experience is very whimsical, you know, because I'm just kind of, you know, freeballing it here, just like, I'm like, wow, that sounds nice. And the Delia does sound really, really nice. And so I'm just loving this idea, and I wanted to share it with you because it's fun. And I just can't express to you how important having fun doing music is to me. I know some people, their job is to score movies, and maybe they're not always having fun. Maybe they think the movie sucks, or they're scoring television shows, or they're a recording artist and they're feeling uninspired, but they have a deadline to get music out. That's not fun. It's like making, in that moment, making music isn't fun. It is a commercial application. It's your job to bring in money. But when it's just about fun, that's the best, most inspired time to me to make music. And I feel like this really helps express that. So check it out. I mean, if you have a Deluge, put the community firmware on there, or if you don't have one, consider it. Because, and there's no affiliate stuff here. I'm literally just, this is my opinion. I think that this is a cool piece of kit, despite its sound engines being a little bit dated. Like the Octatrack continues to be extremely inspired, but the sound engine in it is a little bit dated. So anyhow, that's what I wanted to talk about just briefly, because I'll probably use this to sample into my Digitakt during this stream, and then we'll make some music on with the Digiton accompanying the Digitakt, and just kind of talk through that process. I have no idea what we're end up making. Here we are. We're back. So I hope that was useful for you to see that, because I've always thought stuff like that is so great. And now I have that. And I also, another piece of equipment that it's running into, maybe you can see it. Well, I'll move this plant so you can see it. There it is. There's an MRCC behind that little MIDI controller. And the MRCC is a routable MIDI router. Routable MIDI router. It's a MIDI router, and you can just press one button and link it to another. And I know there's other devices that do that. This is the one that I've had for a long time. So I have the Deluge connected to that, and it's just going out to my other pieces of equipment so that I can share its wonderful workflow upgrades with everything else. So really useful stuff. Just useful, fun equipment. All right, so we're on a blink pattern. We got nothing going on. I got my HyperEffects template 1.0.2. Be doing an update for the HyperEffects template maybe tonight or tomorrow. Sometime this week, I'm definitely going to do it. It's going to come with a template for the Chic controller. Essentially turning the HyperEffects template into like a DJ, more a classic techno DJ template as well. So it'll, with this controller, it'll break out some of the effects that we're missing from the HyperEffects template, because it's a very glitchy, crazy sounding template. Okay, so I want to change the tempo. I'm going to go up to, like, I don't know, let's go to 160. We'll do 162, just to be, I don't know what to be, just for the hell of it. And I'm going to use my Deluge to grab a chord. Here's an A minor 11. Beautiful. This is the Delia. It's running into an analog heat. And God, it sounds so good. There is also chord memory, Volsta, and I don't know how to use it. I'm like, the Deluge is... Okay, one more quick sideways conversation really quick. The Deluge is the most intuitive Groovebox ever made, in my opinion. The most intuitive Groovebox ever made. If you've used a computer to make music, you're a guitar player, or singer, piano player, or whatever, you go over to the Deluge and you open up a sequencer page and you just start hitting the pads. You know what you're doing. You're like, you just get it. It just clicks like very quickly. However, everything beyond the very initial make a 16 bar loop on the Deluge, like I'm sorry, a 16 step loop, a 1 bar loop, anything beyond that goes like exponential in terms of how much effort you have to put in and how difficult it is to learn, because it's all memorization at that point. So it's just like, you walk over to it and you're like, wow, I get it. It's so easy. It's so cool. I love the lights and all that. And then you're like, okay, going beyond this, very difficult. I think it's really, you have to commit yourself to it. And there are some aspects of it that I really don't like in terms of some of the sample playback stuff. Slicing and stuff is like, slicing on the pads isn't ideal, but everything else about it, it's just, I still love it. I think it's really cool, but I wanted to mention that. It draws you in real easy, and then it gets really tough after that. I feel like the Electron stuff is just very consistently complex and just kind of stays that way, but it doesn't really get much harder. So like maybe some automation stuff, which we'll be talking about, I think, today a little bit. But anyway, let's grab some sounds. So I've got my sampler set up, and you can hear the Delia and see the Delia's running in here. Let's just grab a chord. I'm gonna grab this chord. I'm gonna sample it with the effects on it because I wanna modulate post effects with a filter on the Digitakt. So we'll just, we'll turn the armament. Got the threshold up already. Maybe even bring it down a little bit. Chords. All right, so as you can hear, I just gathered a bunch of chords from the Delia. I gave them all quite a bit of space. We can save these. I can use these again in my projects later. And that's something I do. Like, I'll reuse samples all the time. As I'm browsing through recorded samples and I'm starting a new project, I just audition stuff that I've recorded before and I'm like, oh, that fit. Sometimes it just fits because it's all like, you were playing a C note and I recorded a C note, because transposing or modulating a C note to another project is very simple because everything is kind of based off things being as a root note of C. So that usually works, but let's have a listen really quick. Oh, delicious. So good. Lots of space. Oh my goodness. This is going to be a good one, I think. All right, so let's save it. And we'll call it Delia Chords. And I'm going to assign it to track 16, I think. I'm going to have drums on top, sampled stuff on the bottom, and then this is going to just we're going to do a lot on Digitone, I think. How long it is to save, because it is a big sample, but we have so much memory, it just doesn't matter anymore. It's kind of like the Octatrack. Like, you get a compact flash card for your Octatrack. One of the things I tell people, like when I'm talking to them about the Octatrack, they just got an Octatrack. What kind of compact flash card should I get? I'm like, well, get the fastest one you can get. Go on Electronauts, look around for a second. You'll see somebody will talk about it. Get the fastest one you can get, and, get a lot of memory. 32 gigs, I think, is beyond enough. 20 gigs is beyond enough. I doubt I will ever utilize all of the SD in this device. 20 gigs. It's plenty. Okay, so this is saved now. And I want to do what I do when I start a new project. I want to change the length of my patterns. I'm going to have both of these. So this is what is so great. We now have page loop with 8 tracks. I can't even use my Syntakt now because it doesn't have 8 pages. That's one of the issues I have with the Syntakt, is that it doesn't have these, and it was so recent that these came out that I'm like, I have a hard time compartmentalizing that, I guess, that they can't, like, their timing of their release and the difference in the feature set is so close together. It's, I don't know. So let's change this to a per pattern setup, because that's what I like to do. I'm going to make it 128 steps. I like to work in 8 bars. We'll do the same thing on my Digitone. It's already set at 128. How convenient. And it's a per pattern. I don't need my track to be at 128 steps right now. Over here, I also don't need it to be 128 steps from my track level, but I want my patterns because I want to use all 8 pages. I intend to have my tracks be 8 bars long. In fact, I started experimenting with an idea of having my tracks all be 16 bars long per pattern, because I was using half speed before to achieve 8 bars because it was just, it was a long time to wait to get to 8 bars, and at half speed, your resolution of your actual sequencing you can do is pretty slim. And but now that we can jump to those pages, and the expanded page view makes it so working at 16 bars isn't actually such a bad thing anymore, especially with these 2 devices together, because they have the same feature set. And this is why I think that these 2 boxes are all you need and accompany each other so perfectly. So let's play with these chords. Let's use the first one. Was the one I liked the most, I think. Let's also adjust our send effects. I'm gonna make this delay a much more bigger ping pong delay. Give it some more feedback. A little bit of high pass. And make this reverb really big also. I'm gonna give it a little bit more high pass. We might play with that later if I need to, but I think right now it sounds just fine. I want the high end to sparkle a bit. And if we transpose this chord, how does that sound? Does such a good job of modulating or offsetting by semitones now. Like it has a really high fidelity with that. Well, we have 6 octaves down, 2 octaves up, or 3 octaves up. It's a lot. Whoa, 4 octaves up. Never mind, even more. It's impressive. So let's play with the filter. We're gonna go, I really like the low pass 4, but I think the multi-mode is probably the most useful of the filters. Let's modulate this filter. So I'm gonna achieve the filter frequency. Let's slow it down. Leave it at a triplet just because it's a nice groove to have something like a triplet groove. That's what the 24 will do, or a dotted note. We could also do like a trig mode, or set the trigger mode for the LFO reset, phase reset to trig, and we could set this to random and then use the slew, and then we'll just kind of get like, a random filter amount every time it hits that step. That's like not too wild because of the smoothing. And we could do this with a bunch of LFOs, and I think that that's a cool workflow, but I actually really like the idea of the using a standard wave shape like this, because there's some like rhythmic consistency there. The random part of it is good, but the rhythmic consistency over a long period of time sets you into more of that trance vibe. And maybe I don't even want to be at 160. Maybe like this could be a really cool start to like some dub techno. So maybe we'll go down to 114. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll speed it up in a moment. I don't know. But let's just put like I'm gonna put like some muted kick drums down. And by muted I mean filtered. I already had one in here, apparently. It's got a lot of bass on it. Maybe a little too much bass, so I'm gonna filter that out. And let's go back over to that chord, and let's give it some delay, because now we're making dub And we're doing a Dub Techno compilation, so this makes sense for us to do this. Let's get that filtering turned up a little bit. Actually, I liked it better when it's just a low pass there, I guess. Give this a trig condition. We don't need it to play all the time. Maybe we could just use probability, actually. I like that. I love probability. That's something I need to take advantage of more. Just run Syntax at halftime. That's it. I mean, that's what you would do. That is the answer to the question. I understand that I'm being nitpicky, but I also want reasons to exclude gear. Minimal camera. That's why I wouldn't do it. It's just too much stuff. And I don't want more stuff, but. So, we're gonna go over to the Digitone for our bass. We'll use track 1, and maybe we'll try and be more consistent with track 1 being our bass sound. Not sure why I don't hear it. This arpeggiator. Maybe turn off some of these steps, give us a little bit of a bass rhythm. Oh, that's nice. What note was that? Okay. Clear this stuff out. I do this often where I'll just live record, hit a note. So even though I don't have to do that now because we have a better setup for this, we can just hit the note section and just make the notes longer here. Well, let's fix that microtiming. And it displays your microtiming. This is really nice. It's really nice to have. Okay, let's make this trig length. We'll make it like 32 steps. Maybe we'll just play with 32. We're just playing the one note, and I already feel quite dubby inspired here. And I want to have some textural stuff. And the Digitone has features for that now. We didn't have, like, we had to make our own noise on the Digitone before, and the Syntax did a really good job of this because it has utility noise as one of the engines. It'd be cool to have those engines ported over to the Digitone, even though you don't need them necessarily, but to be able to just go to utility noise, they're digital engines. Why not have them in the Digitone II as well, since they're just kind of utilitarian? Although I do believe the utility noise is an analog engine specifically, so maybe that's not a thing, but we have engines now because we have pages that offer noise. You can turn off the tonal part of the engine and just leave the noise. And we're gonna do that, and we're gonna modulate the noise with an LFO. Hit the wrong button. Whoops. Here we go. So I'm gonna go down to the bottom row, which I'm gonna have be drum sounds. Wait, no. On the Digitakt, the drums are on the top, so maybe we should keep the drums on top on the Digitone as well. It's time for us to establish a workflow that's consistent. So why not do that? So let's go here and copy this. But I really like the synth idea on the. Well, let's just see if we can get used to this. Let's paste it here. Clear it here. Copy the sound, paste it. We have a really simple sound. We're just using slightly off square waves. And that's it. That's it. Nothing special. Here's the noise I'm talking about. We're gonna do that on one of these engines, one of these tracks up here. I don't know which, it doesn't really matter which one I pick, but I guess I'll go to 2. And we'll go to wave tone again. And I'm gonna turn off these, I'm gonna turn these oscillators off and go over to this page, the noise page. The grain's nice. That could be cool. Like, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna use just a more standard noise. This 128 steps long, and I want this to be about at least a bar, maybe even go beyond the bar, or maybe the delay will take care of that. Maybe we'll just make it a bar long. And let's let this roll off. What does 64 do for us? Sounds all right. And then we'll go to the volume of the noise level, and set it to trig, and we'll start with a square wave and just see how this sounds. Speed it up. I kind of want that to go the other direction as the volume is going up. So let's... That actually sounds good. We don't want this to happen all the time, so let's put a trig condition on it. We'll have it happen like, I don't know, every 32 bars. So we'll put it on 404. So this will be kind of the turnaround every 32 bars, because we're going to be sitting on one pattern for a long time, since we're doing more of a dub techno style here. What's my I'm doing with my fingers here. So we were talking about dub techno chords the other day in this group video call thing that we do on my Patreon, and talking about how to make the chords. And one thing that I found that's really useful, or something that sounds well, let's talk about this first thing. This music producer Levi, who is there often and is maybe watching now, pointed out that a lot of dub techno chords come from using vocoders, just like sending impulses into vocoders, and but having a chord there, so it's still making like a minor 7 chord, which is a really common dub techno chord. And that was like, I was like, yeah, that's spot on. That is the sound, is that vocoded. But I think what it is filter banks, and we don't have a filter bank in any Electron box, but you can build a filter bank in your Octatrack, and I just want to point that out. That you can kind of build a filter bank inspired type sound by using comb filters and multiple through tracks. If you use multiple neighbor tracks, they stack on top of each other, and that doesn't work as well. So you use a bunch of through tracks and just bring the volumes down, and you can send impulses into your Octatrack, and this will generate those perfect, really like a filter bank sounding chords, and then you can save them to scenes on your Octatrack. And this is a project I did a couple of years ago. I tested this theory out, and it worked really well, and it's on my Patreon if you want to check it out. If you search for turning your Octatrack into a vocoder, I think I made a video on it too. So it's inspiring if you own an Octatrack, I think, because it's cool to see what you can do with the Octatrack, because you can do so much. So, but another way that you can make really good sounding dub chords is you sample a chord from like a really nice filtered chord like we have now. You sample the chord that has a low pass filter on it already. Then you run a second filter on top of it, which is what we're doing in our Digitakt. And I think that's what makes this dub chord sound so good to me. I think it sounds good, so it's, of course, my opinion. It's because we have two filters. Because just the one filter from the synth isn't quite enough to me. Another thing to do is, like on the Delia, for instance, one of the reasons I like this is because it uses a ladder filter, which is my favorite sounding filter. And then I'd say from there it's like a polybox, and then just that ladder filter 18 dB style that Roland did. It's another great sounding. But anyhow, it has a linked high pass filter, so you can do your low pass filtering, but then also have resonance on a high pass filter and your low pass at the same time, much like the Octatrack does with its filter. And then when you move one knob, it moves the other knob with it. Of course, it has motorized knobs, so it's really fun to just even watch that happen. But the sound that it produces is excellent for making these filtered dub chords. All right, I'm gonna let this play just long enough for me to hear, hey, there's Levi. What's up, Levi? That was a really good tip, Levi. Just long enough for me to hear this noise turnaround, which we're kind of using to let us know that you've played 32 bars of music. Of course, we have to listen to it for 32 bars. But while we're listening to it, I can start, you start to hear maybe what it's missing. And I think some little percussive stuff could be good. I love using the arpeggio. One of the reasons why the Digitone is so good is because it has an arpeggiator, and it's an arpeggiator that you can remove steps from. There it was. We were waiting all that time just to hear that. And that was it. Like, if we make more of these tracks that just kind of have these like whimsical sounds in there, I think that we'll be getting closer to some like good dub sounds. And I think we also need to have more bouncy delay chords. Often what I'll do when I'm trying to achieve a certain genre is I'll just put on like a YouTube video that has a playlist of like somebody hand curated what they think is the best dub techno or techno tracks, and I'll just listen to them and write the music, listening to them and being like, oh, my music is not sounding like that, so let me kind of skew it in this direction. And I think that's really useful, and that's pretty classic in terms of how you learn how to do production. Okay, so I kind of want to do that now, and I know that I can't display that music that I listen to on YouTube with you because I'll get copyright striked. And I don't want to be copyright striked, so maybe I'll just listen to it myself and you'll have to just guess. You'll just have to guess with me. But I do need it. You know, I need to listen to other people's music for me to make the kind of music that I want to make. Like, I don't just naturally know how to make all the genres and understand all the sound design concepts. I don't know them all. So I have to listen to other people's music often and take notes and pay attention to what they're doing and listen. Like, can I achieve that in my current setup? Which you can. There shouldn't be very much that you can't accomplish here. Like this, I think one thing we're missing from the Digitone of all the sounds that I really like, even though it's, you know, if you read the manual, it has this, but it really doesn't, in my opinion. And that's wavetable synthesis. And I think that that is that is my favorite kind of synthesis in terms of like what kind of sound qualities I can get. Wavetables really crush it. And it has wavetable, but like, you know, to me, it's not quite enough. I'm going through my you can't see what I'm doing right now, but I'm going through my YouTube history looking for the Dub Techno video that I watched because I really want to hear. Here we go. And I'll just tell you, I'll put a link into the chat so that everybody can hear what I'm listening to without me actually playing it. So there you go. There's the link. This is what I'm listening to. And this is what I'm using to help me make some dub. And you know what? I already am like, I'm jumping through this, listening to this dub comp. And I can already hear like, I was adding noise to my track and I think I need to add a lot more noise. I think that like a hissing crackling sound, like that one grainy sound could actually be something really good to just kind of like have way low in the background to just fill up that space. And this bass line, of course, is like very, very basic. It's playing one note. I could really expand on it and I will. And I might even make some Euclidean tracks with some notes like pre-locked into the page so that I can improvise on the Digitone and take advantage of the Euclidean, because you can do a lot with the Euclidean in terms of like techno production on here. But dub is this very like, it's a different beast, you know. It's a beautiful, minimal genre, and I'm definitely drawn to it. And I don't know if Euclidean really works for it because it might add a little too much. But if I use it on drums, maybe that would work. I don't know. We'll check it out. Minilog dub chords for the win. I believe it. Minilog is a really great sounding synthesizer. Great bang for the buck. Okay, where did I put that? So this noise. Am I not going to be able to hear it without? Maybe we do this and bring. What was it? The noise level. Okay, let's get another noise sound going because I mentioned that I wanted to do that. So we'll go back to the wave tone, and again, we'll turn off these oscillators and get to this noise page. I love this grainy noise sound from the Digitone. This is such a cool sound. Oh, we could even modulate the noise type. The grain is really nice though, so let's play with that for a sec. Oh. The electron filters, they just, like, for digital filters, my god, they just nail it, don't they? They are the best sounding digital filters in any Groovebox. Oh, it sounds really good. I just want to have that play for 128 steps. Just have it always play, but not infinity. And we'll gate it too. So we'll use the AHD and just let this fade out quickly so that when we move to a new track, it doesn't like carry on forever. And I'm gonna hand record this. So I'll just record play and we'll just kind of play with this. Okay, now I have a nice kind of ambient noise texture behind it. We used the wave tone, removed all the oscillators, and just kind of, you know, dialed it in. And now we have that other noise right there that came in, and now that one might not be as useful as it was. Maybe we have it on a different spot. Have anything on track 1? We don't. And I want to use the FF drum here, and I want to make a really short sequence. Did you? That's what's going on. Turn that off. Did I lock in there? Okay, let's solo this track, so to speak. I guess we can leave that. I think that's starting to do what I wanted it to do. gonna go back to my bass line. Yeah, we need more modulation on that. It's on 16. Okay. Let's listen again. I guess we could try putting the clap in. Also, let's get some swing. Oops. Not metronome volume. Sounds nice. Let's put a clap here. Whoa, not a snare. Oh my god. Modulate the filter on that too. I like that. Right on the edge there. Not enough shades of black on the table. Artisanal dub techno. Let's have a dub treat. Okay, I think we need like a drone. Just a drone in the background, just like. And like a vocal sample of some sort? I mean, do you need to have a vocal sample in dub techno? God damn, I want to make those sounds. I guess we could try and use, do like some comb filter type chords. We'll do another minor chord. What chord were we playing? It was an F minor, I think. Right, let's do the comb filter deal. I guess that works best here. Again, like this. So it doesn't matter right there. I think feedback is at 60, gives you the right note, and then what is it? Does it snap? Oh, there we go. So there's frequency snaps. Do you see this? If you hold function and turn this, it's gonna jump to these nice comb filter amounts. Oops. Frick. Pass filter. I guess we want to have a kind of play for a while. Ooh. Modulate the low pass filter. Comb, low pass. Yeah. I want to hear that, like. And these a little bit. Yes. Now we're building more texture, and I feel like this is really important. Yeah, we're doing a little physical modeling. Normally no vocals, but then there is rhythm and sound artists. That's true. 2 hands to press an arpeggio button? No, not 2 hands to press an arpeggio button. I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to. Wait. Does this need to be here? Micro timed back? No. No, it doesn't. What's this? Maybe it needs to go here. We're doing it, folks. We're getting the dub. What's up, D'Amiga? That's not dub. Check this out. This is a filter effect I built on the Octatrack. Listen to this. Sounds so good. Okay, time to listen to Dub Techno video again. Okay. Oh, that one was good. That like really nailed it right there. Let's put more of these just like layered throughout the track. And I'm just kind of moving I'm using a minor chord, just a minor triad, and I'm just, the different chords that I'm adding, I'm just moving one of the notes up and down an octave. So I'm just kind of creating different inversions of the chord just to change obviously just to make it sound different. I don't know, I'm explaining why I do that, just because it sounds cool. Nice. I wonder if this would sound better with a different clap. All right, I'm gonna go for this like drone sound. So let's see. Could try for a preset for this. Try this. Nope. Bad idea. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Kind of want to get like a tuned metallic sound to like kind of like throw some weird rhythm in. We'll do another percussion track for that. That's nice. Right. Cool. Cool. Okay, let's get back to the conversation that we were having earlier. Boop. Wait, hold on. There we go. Now I can see what you guys are saying. Okay, so back to the very beginning of the video where it's like, this is all you need. This is all you need. I really do only need the Digitakt II, the Digitone, and my Octatrack to make really good, like, listen to the sound quality. Like, listen to how clean this sounds. the stereo space, how good the reverb is on the Digitakt II and the Digitone II. The reverb is obscene. What do they call it? Super void or something? They have a name for it. It's good reverb. The delay is awesome. Like, just the quality of the sound, and mind you, this is all running into an Octatrack Mark II, which at most is 4424, while these boxes are 4824. Higher sample rate, higher bit rate, higher dynamic range, more samples than the sound, so just more sound you're listening to, more high end, way more high end. It's all going into the Octatrack, which is downsampling it a little bit, running through its digital audio converters, bringing the quality down just a little bit. If I didn't have it running into the Octatrack, this would sound obscene. How good, how crystal clear, but I think it sounds just fine through the Octatrack because I really want to be able to go do stuff like this. Which I know you don't normally do in Dub Techno, but I do whatever I want. It's super fun, and like I said, that's the most important thing. But the sound quality of these devices is... there just isn't a better experience, in my opinion, as far as step sequencing goes. The intuitive nature of the step sequencing, the Digitone really set the standard with the new note edit. It's very intuitive. I'm still getting used to using it because it's just like not on the top of my head because I haven't used it that much. Just because it's only been out for such a short time. And I didn't get one day one or anything. I had to buy one. It's not like I'm a sponsored Electron goober or something like that. I'm not getting free stuff all the time, but I love it. I'm definitely a big fan, and I was mildly skeptical when Digitone II first came out because it still sounded like Digitone 1, but it is the workflow and the more voices and tracks and the drum engine for sure is so fun. I don't, the wave tone sounds fine and everything, but the new workflow, the more tracks, that kind of stuff, that's what really makes this device now shine. I feel like you could you could already before, by many other artists, play whole sets with just the Digitone, which only had 4 tracks and 8 voices. 16 tracks, 16 voices now. Mind you, quite buggy. I run into bugs in my Digitone very, very often. And my Digitakt, I think they're both needing a couple firmwares before things get really smooth on them, but you can definitely go play shows with just a Digitone. No other devices. I mean, I would bring an Octatrack or something for performance effects, like a high pass or DJ filter or something like that, just to, give people a sense of, oh gosh, the word that wanted to come to my head was like desperation. That's not the word, but we want to, give people a sense of drama. Drama would be a fine word for that. But so performance effects are really good for creating drama. But yeah, it's just it really nails it. And I think what I would love to see is a Digitone II keys. I think that would be really exceptional to have, especially if they, I liked that weird form factor, but I think they could do a better job of recreating that. A synth that I wish I had is the analog keys, which I've played on many times, but I've never owned, and I would love to have one of those in my studio. I think that'd be really cool. So let me say what's up to the chat here. Someone was saying, like, where's this bomb cyclone in the Pacific Northwest, Calderwood? And it's supposed to arrive. I'm not seeing it. The clouds are here, but the cyclone isn't. It's supposed to, like, knock out power and stuff here in Washington, right where I'm located. Hopefully I won't lose power, because there's a newborn in my house, and having no power in the winter with a newborn sucks. But yeah, let me go back a little bit. A piano chord. Yeah, piano chord would be really good as well. I'm still working out the best practice for doing the string synthesis on the Digitone. Still trying to figure that out. How to get the best stuff. I did get one chord in there, this preset that I made during the stream that I think sounds about right. I'm joining late. Did you pop that LaCroix? What's up, mediocre? Good question. You know what? Sponsor me. Get it over with. You know I need it. We got mouths to feed over here. We'll feed my mouth first. I don't know what to do with my Digitone keys. I want the Digitone II, but I like my keys still. I just don't need both. Well, to be honest, I think the Digitone II completely makes the Digitone 1 keys or not keys very dated. And not that you should get rid of your Digitone keys. Uh, I wouldn't get rid of it. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm just reading Blake's moderator here. Dub Techno isn't that fun. Well, that's because you only play like 180 BPM breakcore, and that's just a different kind of energy. I like it. I think this is fun. I even think those little plucks are maybe too much. Maybe too much melody. There, I fixed it. The tabla-like sound does fit, you think? Okay. It's when you're adding your performance template effects. Oh, that, I got it. I understand. Okay, sorry. Misunderstanding. You know, I did something for this stream that I hadn't done in my other streams, and I turned on the ability to hear my own voice, which I've been leaving off because I didn't like the sound of the room because you could hear fans and stuff. And now that I can hear my voice, I'm not shouting into the microphone, and I get to just have a much more relaxed experience. And I don't know why I waited so long to do this. I've been streaming for years, but it just feels a lot better. Not talking so loud. He met Dumb Techno isn't hyper template fun. No, I agree, but that's like, I'm on the hyper template vibe now. All right, I feel like, have I made the point enough that this is the the ultimate setup and this is all you need? We still have how many tracks? We've used 4 here, 5 here. We haven't even maxed out the capability of one of these devices yet. Now, let's harp on this a little further. Another point I could make is you technically, in my opinion, not technically, but in my opinion, you really only need one of these boxes. And I would say if you had to pick one, it would be you'd have a really hard time picking one between the other. But if I had to, if somebody was like, Matt, you have to pick one between these two, just forget about the Octrack, but between these two, I would say you want to get a Digitakt II. And it's a really, really tough call. Very tough. Because if you're really into sound design and you want to do your own sound design and you love that, and you don't care about vocals and stuff like that, then a Digitone's really going to be where it's at. But if you just want to be able to make any style of music, any genre, I feel like your Digitakt II is going to be where that's at. Because it does do synthesis, it does it really well. It's got the comb filter and the filter tracking, so you can do the comb filter synthesis like you can here. Of course, not with polyphony. But you have there's quite a bit of overlap in terms of some of the feature sets for accomplishing your goals that you would also want to accomplish on a Digitone. You can do on a Digitakt. But the big advantage here is that you can, chop drums, albeit not the same experience as an MPC or an Octatrack or an M8 tracker or Deluge or whatever that has, chopping that actually lets you offset the start position manually as opposed to like a grid perspective, but you can still get around that on the Digitakt, as we talked about last week with Dean Crystal. It doesn't even use the chopping, it's just offsetting start positions and playing with the length, which was news to me that he did it that way. But you can capture voices, and I think that like vocal sounds, and you can bring in drum loops and stuff like that, and that's not something that you can do on your Digitone. So I'd say if you had to pick between the two, I would get a Digitakt II. And if you had a Digitakt 1 and you're like, I need to get another device to pair with my Digitakt 1, I'd say get a Digitone 2. Then list your Digitakt 1, sell it, and get a Digitakt 2 after you sell your Digitakt 1. If anybody's buying them, I don't know. people are buying Digitakt ones. I have one on the shelf, but I feel like no one's gonna buy it. Maybe I'd be able to get rid of it for like $300, but they're gonna go for cheap, I think, real cheap, because it's gonna be hard to not want a Digitakt II, 16 tracks in stereo sampling versus 8 tracks in monophonic sampling. Although there's something about the Digitakt I in the monophonic, samples and the only 8 tracks that is extremely inspiring, and I do kind of miss that experience a little bit, because I do feel like we're approaching scope creep at the level that we're getting with the Electron boxes now, with the amount of tracks that we have, the memory amount that we have. Like, it's all stuff that we're like, we need more. It's 2024. We have the technology. We can build it. We can make you stronger. That whole like perspective, that's very real, and I understand that. But there is something about limitation that, is creative, and we're approaching that spot where limitation is not happening anymore. Like, we're not experiencing very much limitation. When I pair these two boxes together, I am not experiencing limitation at all. I have all the synthesis types I need. I have drum synthesis. I have polysynths up to 16 voices. I have multi-temporality of 16 voices on a Digitone II and on a Digitakt, stereo sampling and chopping, and then I have overbridge for connecting to my computer. So I'm now at this place where I don't feel limited at all, and maybe there's something about that might kill a little bit of your inspiration. I don't know, but that's why people buy an OP1. Somebody asked earlier if I'm getting an OP XY, and the answer is totally, absolutely. I have an OP1. I have an OP1 field. I use it all the time, because for me it's very utilitarian. Like, if I'm demonstrating something or I'm just needing to grab a sound. But to me, I think the OPXY is, I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. I think it's cool looking. I think it sounds whatever. But the point of it, I think, is that it's exciting. I do think it costs a lot, but so does a lot of things. I mean, a Rivian truck, is what I would love to drive a Rivian. I would love to have an electric truck. That's my dream right now, is to get a car. If I was to get a new car, because I drive a Honda Accord. And if I was to get a new truck, I would love to get a Rivian, because a Rivian is dope. I want an electric truck. I like the idea of electric cars, and I think that's the way of the future. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. But the analogy I'm making is that truck does the same thing as my car. My car is hella cheaper than that truck. That truck is this like deluxe thing. So I think the price thing, I think that's a tired argument about it. Like, they made their thing. It is what it is. We all just got to deal with it. I think it's cool, and I'll decide if it's worth the money. I think the resale value is really good. So if you can fork it out and get one and try it out, and if it's for you, then keep it. And if it's not, return it or sell it. No big deal. Just like everything else we do with music gear. That's what I do. You really need this, get that. Very happy with the Digi Trinity. No need for version 2 just yet. Need the ST2 to be released. I agree with you. I think that that's kind of how it feels with the Syntact, is that I feel like I want a Syntact 2. That's how I'm feeling. But the Syntax 2 fresh, we're not going to get that. You really need this, get that. Yeah. Well, there is no sales pitch on my end. I mean, I don't make anything from you buying Electron stuff. This is just, you could use the affiliate links. Please do. I mean, if you're buying it, sure. It gives me a nice little sum. But, like, I'm not making any money on affiliate links. Like, that's not what this channel does. People who watch this channel already own all the stuff on the channel. So no one's going to buy anything here. They're already doing it. So all I'm expressing is what I think is cool, and it's my hands-on experience. So if I think it's cool, I'm going to talk about it, and if I sell you on it, that's up to you. That's not my fault. I'm not getting a buck. Nobody cares. And Electron doesn't give me anything. Well, they did give me a model samples, and they did give me a Digitakt. That's true. That was cool. But for the most part, that's not what's happening here. I'm not getting hookups. They're not sharing my content. So whatever. My point is that you're hanging out with Matt. You're not hanging out with a synth shop at the moment. Let that resonate, please. Don't think that this is a channel trying to sell you shit. This is not Bo Beats, all right? It's not loop pop. But no hate on either one. You know, ain't hating on anybody doing their job. Do you miss the analog sound? Sebastian says. I mean, I don't, because I have the Digitakt, and the Digitakt is sampling my analog synths. That's a really great. I mean, it's a great point, and it's one that we've harped on before. And the reason why I think a sampler is one of the most useful devices that you have is because you can have an analog synth. You don't have to carry it with you to a gig. Just sample it into your Digitakt. Do you think you can tell the difference between your poly synth sampled into your Digitakt II versus it playing live? Because I bet you can't. And if you can, I don't know, you have exceptional hearing. But for the most part, you really can't. Samples that are analog versus an actual analog synth is real hard to actually tell the difference. Where you can tell the difference between analog and digital is in the actual synthesizer itself. Is it a digital synth? It's going to sound digital. Like, it's hard to get away from that. But if it's an analog synth and you sample it, you can't really tell the difference between an analog sampled synth versus. That's why if you get a multi-sample player, and that, in fact, this is an argument for the OPXY, and one of my arguments for the OPXY on why it could be cool. There's alternatives that are a lot cheaper. You don't need to get an OPXY to do this, but there are alternatives. Like a Deluge is, a close in price, has a lot more features. It's a lot more flexible than an OPXY, but it's different. It's a different experience. They have like a classic keyboard on it, or graphics and images or whatever, but it plays multi-samples. So if you have something that can do something portable, preferably, but if you have a synthesizer that can play multi-samples back and you sample your analog synthesizers, you're not going to tell the difference between your analog synth and a multi-sample player. And you can accomplish that with your Digitakt 1 or 2. You can accomplish that with an M8. But especially something that I think for the 48,000 sample rate, I think that is kind of borderline necessary for it to really trick you into hearing that it sounds identical to your synthesizer. I think, for me at least, at that sample and bitrate 4824, I can't really hear the difference anymore. At least my hearing doesn't. I can't hear it any longer. I guess I'm repeating that, but that's how I feel about that sample rate. I think you just grab your analog stuff and you bring it into your sampler. And then I don't miss it. What I do miss is the experience of tweaking an analog synth live. That's what I miss. The sound of it, no. But the experience of it, yes. That part is cool. And I feel like a rhythm would be a good addition for that. Or having your synth, maybe replace Digitone with Syntakt. Maybe replace Digitakt with Syntakt. Then you can get that analog sound on a monophonic voice or something. I do preach. What is cool about live streaming and YouTube and doing stuff like this is that you do get to have a bit of a soapbox and express your opinion. And I feel like I've played with this gear for so long and in such great depth that I have a really, really strong opinion about it at this point. Like I feel extremely opinionated about what sounds that it can make and what it can't make. What workflow does work on it versus what works on another box. I have spent the time and energy to form an opinion that I think is valuable to people who haven't experienced what I've experienced with these boxes. So I think that I can bring some value with my opinion. That's not always the case. A lot of times you watch a YouTube channel and they are forming opinions in a 20-minute experience, or like they're getting a synthesizer sent to them, they're playing with it for a day and they're going, here's my review of the Digitone II. I have no clue how to use it, but it sounds like this. And it's like, who cares? I don't care about your opinion. After you played with it for a couple of years, or a Digitone or a Digitakt or an Octatrack, you've played with it in depth for a long time, your opinion becomes quite valid. And to me, I'm listening. I do think that there are some initial opinions that do have value for somebody who has never tried something and there's the intuitive nature and how it sounds immediately. And I think that that is valid. So if somebody gets a piece of equipment and they're like, it was really hard for me to learn, it's like, well, there's, that either speaks about your ability to learn a year, or it speaks to the UX designer or how they developed their workflow for their instruments. And I think that those opinions matter. So I like that I've put the time in, and I feel like I can share my opinion with you at this point, and I think that I'm bringing value, and I hope that that's true. And while we're talking about bringing value, let me quickly try and get paid for my sponsorship. So these streams, they are often sponsored by DistroKid, and I use DistroKid to distribute music and to help with other people distribute music or to do compilations. And today we're gonna have a look at this kind of silly and kind of fun thing. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. That's it. Here we go. This is how we do our sponsorships over here. So this is my DistroKid account, and this is one of my songs, and I don't think you can hear it on here, but it's the track that I made using live coding called The Park, and I used Orca and Bitwig, and I combined them together, and Orca is this really great esoteric live coding environment, and I love Orca, and if you want to learn Orca, I teach Orca, so you can sign up for private lessons with me to learn Orca, and I know it pretty well, and can get you up and running on Orca if you want to do live coding. It's a free app. I do recommend you pay for it, but it can be free if you want. What DistroKid offers, besides getting your music out to all the streaming platforms for like a really low price, and that's what I like about it, is the price. Like, it gets your music out for really cheap, and you get to keep the money. They have these cute promos. As you can see, there's some Christmas inspired things. So if you want to share your tracks, they offer promo cards. So if I grab a new track, like here's Beat Blitz, this is a compilation that I helped coordinate. So it has a bunch of artists on it. We released this on DistroKid and did splits. So every artist on that did the compilation with us, if there was any streaming revenue, it got split out to the artists, evenly distributed by DistroKid. So that's a pretty cool feature. So you can work with other artists and it will automatically distribute the money. So you don't have to go through the argument of who did what and did you pay me? You don't have to do that. DistroKid will take care of that for you, and you don't have to deal with that. And these are these little promo cards that you can generate extremely quickly. And once you like one, you click on it, and you probably can't see the pop-up because it's just sharing the browser, but it popped up and it said, do you want to save this? And you get a little promo card. You can throw it on Instagram and share your music with a link. And it will take people to your music through the promo card. So it's not just an image, it's a link to the music. So this is why I like using DistroKid and why I appreciate some of the little treats that they have, because making this stuff is work. It's a lot of work to make a promo card that looks nice. Like, if you don't know how to use Photoshop, it's a pain in the butt. So this is my ad for DistroKid. They do sponsor these streams, and we appreciate that because it lets us keep talking and making music. Today we made Dub Techno, which we did from scratch, mind you. So the whole process filmed, recorded here on the EZBOT YouTube channel, and it was a really good experience for me. And I'm still trying to nail the dub techno vibe. There's a couple artists here in Seattle that I really enjoy seeing live, and I'm gonna shout out Planar Drift again because he's always my go-to for dub techno. Planar Drift is a local here in Seattle that plays a lot of live hardware shows, and I believe uses a Digitakt and some other kit, like some modular. And anyway, it's always the dub. Like, when I think of dub, it's so very dubby classic, and I'm trying to learn how to do that. I always want to add a bunch of melodic elements, and that has been one of my problems. So for instance, this is is that still in that pattern? Yeah. This was my first go at making some dub with these two devices, and it definitely left dub techno. Like, I don't know if this is dub techno. I do feel like This pattern, though, that we made together today, this sounds more like dub. I think that sound kind of takes me out a little bit. The like tombola sound. Because it sounds a little more melodic than I would like. Yeah. I do a lot of active listening. I don't know about you, but I'll listen to the same, like this is one pattern and I will listen to this pattern for a long time. I'll just hit play on the devices and I'll go do other things in the studio, go on the internet and read, and I'll just let these patterns play for a really long time and just let it soak into me. And eventually I feel like you start imagining new parts and then you can come over and program it. That's just a part of my workflow. Dub is really hard, but I think all the genres are really hard. I think that there's not a type of, I don't think that there's a music genre that's like, this genre is easy. Because when you sit, like, I think a lot of people think that techno is easy, and I thought techno was easy before I started trying to make it. And you think it techno because of the rhythms are easy to pop into a sequencer, like doing, 1 5 9 13 and then doing 3 7 11 15. And you can throw that in there and you get that doots, doots, doots vibe, and you throw it at the right tempo and then put a bass line that's doing a single note on the offbeat and then throw some atonal elements in there, just like really quick. It doesn't even have to be something you even meant to do. And you're going to throw reverb and delay on it. It's going to start sounding like techno. It's going to sound like the worst techno that anyone's ever heard. That's what it's going to sound like. It's going to sound like crappy shit techno. That's the truth, is like, yeah, it's easy to make a rhythm that is the genre, but to make it sound like good music, that is always still the challenge. And I think a lot of different electronic music genres, because I'm making assumptions that other people do the same things that I do, but I made a lot of assumptions about music genres coming from guitar player and singer-songwriter stuff, that I was like, assuming that other music was easy because it was hard to do what I was doing, and I was just being a human and being an idiot making those assumptions. But as I tried to learn how to make house and techno and drum and bass and ambient and keep becoming a modular artist and doing all the different stuff that I've done with hardware, because I love hardware. That's like what I'm all about. And on the DAW, learning Bitwig, because I became an instructor for Bitwig. That's how deep I go deep. When I go into something, I'm like, I really, really want to do this. And I get hardcore about it. So I got very hardcore about hardware. And you just realized how incredibly difficult it is to make music sound good. And there are formulas to kind of help you make better music. And if you follow those formulas, you're not cheating by any means, I don't think, but like there are ways to achieve good sounds, but just because it's got a simple pattern to it doesn't mean it's good, or it doesn't mean it's easy. That's what I meant to say. Because there's simple concepts in it doesn't mean the music is easy. And I feel like dub techno you would think would be easy because it's a minor chord with a dub delay. That you would think it would be easy to make the music, but it's not. We spent an hour making this one pattern, and I am pleased with it while it sounds good because these boxes sound good. But I think there's a massive amount of work to do left. There's hours of massaging that needs to go into just this one pattern to have it sound what I think would be like worthy of a release. Mind you, I'll play music live at a show that is not finished or what I would consider something that should go on an album. I'll play it live. No problem. I really don't care. I think that playing live music is different than releasing music. It's a different experience and I have different goals with it. So this is something I would totally be like, oh, this is great. We'll play live. We'll copy the pattern, paste it. I'll make another version of this pattern. Maybe a little bit more dubby. I don't even know what that means, but I would. And I really like that about the hardware vibe, is that you can have a version My kid is crying. You can have a version that is for shows and a version that is for albums. And that's what's fun about the Electron boxes, because the improvisation available to these boxes and what makes... Okay, so someone's in the chat was mentioning that they really like their M8 tracker, but they're really having a hard time learning it. Well, you'll learn your tracker. Don't worry about that. Just keep playing with your tracker. You're gonna get it down. Watch some tutorials. Watch some people do some live music production on a tracker, and that's really... Sit through a 2-hour video of somebody making a song on your M8 and you'll learn it. But here's the thing about like an M8 tracker or the Deluge or a Polyend tracker, or what's another one? MPC, or MPC is probably better for this though. Maybe MPC is one of the more formidable opponents to an Electron box. But I think like the hands-on control for like live performance is unbeatable here. We have 8 endless encoders with secondary functions: push and turn, slow movement. We have accelerated movement when it goes quickly. We have function turn. We have load, unload, or load, reload for patterns. We have perform kit mode. And then we have all these different parameters that we can adjust. And all of them are always the same, what you see on the display. These parameters always match. There's no guesswork to be done. We know attack is A, decay is B, sustain is C, release is D, so on and so forth. That workflow allows you to make music very quickly and very easily, and do a lot of live stuff. And as I was saying before, we have overbridge and all that, and we can record tracks. I'm curious, do you use overbridge and record your music to your computer, or do you just record your tracks soloed and just record them with the effects? Because when you do overbridge, you have to record a separate effects track. Do you do that? Because what I've done overbridge in the past for recordings, especially when I first got a Digitakt. I did a lot of overbridge, but I think it's also valuable and easy to wrap your head around without having to deal with overbridge and setting up all the tracks for overbridge and dealing with the VST and the gain's always so low on overbridge. And for whatever reason, very, very low. You're always having to boost the gains of your tracks, the gain of your tracks. Just recording the output of your tracks soloed per track, I think is really useful. Yeah, I really do. I like that. The only problem with that is because the effects are send effects, unlike the Octatrack with the insert effects, is that if you record the effects on a per track basis, you are going to get a layer, kind of, I guess, a layer of the effects. I guess overbridge is still the win when it comes to that. Well, I've done both, and they both work out pretty well. But overbridge is so quiet. It really is. And it can be such a pain to set up. It's best to make a template with overbridge and then group the template and then mute the master MIDI device so that you're just hearing the audio devices. That's what I've done in the past. That's been pretty useful. Blake's uses overbridge. Okay. Does the new overbridge have the ability to do effects in each channel? No. You do you don't want that. Anyway, like you do effects in the computer. That's what you want. Anyway, you know, like that's ideal. But I haven't used it in so long, honestly. What I've been using overbridge with, the most recent was taking my Rhythm Mark 1. And I do wish I had a Mark II, but goddamn, I wish it was in the form factor of the Octatrack. That Mark I form factor of the Rhythm is just unbeatable. I just love that. I like the chunky Rhythm, too big. It's just, I don't know. I didn't like how they designed that. I do think the playability of it is better. But anyway, I've been overbridging that. In old overbridge with Rhythm Mark I, like you can't get all the tracks at once, or at least I was having trouble doing that. So it was just jankier on it. So I need to try it on Digitakt and Digitone when I can. There is a great tutorial of Ricky Tinez for overbridge template. Yeah, the overbridge. I mean, the overbridge template is a piece of cake. Like, yes, yes, Ricky talked about it and he did a great job explaining it. But it's really simple. You just load overbridge on a MIDI track, and then you assign your tracks. You make 12 tracks or 16 tracks and assign them to the outgoing audio from overbridge, and then group it and save it as a template, and then it will always boot up that way. That's how my computer has always been. My Bitwig projects, when I start a new project in Bitwig, it always had Digitakt, Digitone, and this is when, you know, once Synth came out, it was much further down the line. But back in the day, it was always Digitakt, Digitone, which is boot up and always be overbridged. And I wasn't having any weird USB audio issues. When I plug my USB power into my Digitone, I hear a ground loop now. And that wasn't, you know, and that wasn't the case before with Digitone. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe they need to do an update or something, but I hear ground loop when I plug in. I'm like, you can't do overbridge with a ground loop. I don't want to listen to that. It's awful. Same? Are you talking about what I'm talking about when you plug in a USB cable, D'Amiga? Because, yes, you are? Okay. So I'm not alone. That's a problem for me. It means I can't, like, they got to solve that. And I think that I'm having that issue. You got a ground loop after adding a new hard drive to your computer. That sucks. That sucks. Yeah, that's weird. I don't understand that one. That doesn't make any sense. That it's not getting it. It's not. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know electronics well enough to answer that one. I don't know. I am alone. Isn't overbridge for the DN2? No, it is not out. Yes, you're right. It isn't out yet. But regardless, I mean, I hope that a ground loop is solved somehow. How are they going to solve ground loop from a software perspective? I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I'm definitely having a ground loop when I plug it in. And I mean, even as just updating it and hearing that is frustrating. That's what happens when you plug your USB power cable into your Octatrack. That's been an issue. So I'm hoping for that to be solved as soon as possible. I did think, like, you know what else? There's another bug I've been having. While I am telling you, I really do. Why is that camera off? That sucks. Check this out. Here's the sound. Or jam cam. Let's get some dub techno visuals going really quick. Why is that not? Never mind, we're not doing that. I thought we could, but apparently not. Oh, wait. Is it working now? Oh, here we go. Dub Techno Visualizer. Using the headphone out of my Octatrack and sending it into the Entropy and Sons video synth, which is dope and deep, real deep. And it's making some weird stuff. We'll go to a new graphic. There we go. I need to learn how to use this thing better because it's real weird. But it is kind of cool to do. I mean, video synthesis is something that I've always been interested in, but it's way over my head. What I was going to say is I've been running into some bugs on my Digitakt and my Digitone II, and one of the bugs I'm running into, even though I do still believe that these are the best devices, I really do. I strongly believe that. My other favorite is my M8. This is my favorite. I write the music that I think feels the most like me on my M8 because it writes in arranger mode, and I think in arranger mode. I write pattern mode on here. It's a different kind of music that I write than I write here. I'll show you some of the music I write here in a second just to demonstrate what I mean versus the music that I naturally write here. But one of the bugs that I'm coming across is you can see your voice, what voices are doing what in your Digitone here. And if I leave my Digitone on for a really long time, it stops using the voices and it only uses one voice for all the tracks. So they're constantly stealing, and I have to go like this, turn reuse on and off, and it resets the Digitone and it gives me all my voices back. But that's a bug. That's a nasty bug because it sounds terrible and you don't always notice that it's happening. It's been a real pain. Just sample the ground loop into the Digitakt II and turn it into weird FM noise. Totally good. Let's see it, like, how would we perform this track out? I kind of like this right here. Also, something that's great now, having Digitakt II, Digitone II be the same workflow, is when you're in the pattern mute mode, which I always use the purple mutes because I like the pattern mutes. But even if you're using the green mutes, which works great for techno and any other sort of improvised electronic music, is the holding the tracks down and doing this, you can do it on both. You know, and if you had a really long hand, like I apparently do, we can do this. Nobody's gonna do that live. You have to have you really have to stretch your hand, and I can because I have big hands, but like, it's unrealistic. I dig your knowledge, but the music is dull. Appreciate you, my friend. Brag much. Well, we're trying to make dub techno. I don't know. I'm learning. I'm not a professional dub techno artist. If you don't like dub techno, then that's your thing. I don't know. Don't blame me. What else can it sound like? This is what that genre sounds like. Damn, dog. Coming in with the hate. But I really like that. I like being able to do this. I guess you can do it like that. There we go. That works. You want chord mode back in the DN2? That's your only gripe? Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I do think that they'll probably re-implement chord mode at some point, or some sort of chord thing. But it wasn't really that good to begin with, because it only ever gave you the first inversion of a chord, and the first inversion of a chord is the most boring sounding chord possible. It's like always another inversion of the chord is going to sound better. And changing chords on Digitone I, that experience wasn't very good. A chord mode now would be good, especially if they offered you, inversions and more chord shapes, because they didn't have that many chord shapes. But even if they didn't offer you the inversions, the chord mode, just to put a chord down and then go into the note editor, would be pretty useful on Digitakt II. Or Digitone II. Matt, I'm loving the idea of a monthly challenge to produce and finish a song in a different genre. Wouldn't be mad if it was different every month. I would like to do, maybe every 2 months, I think. But we could maybe do every month. But I'm so slow, because I get sucked into the tracks that I like to make. And let me show you okay, so where's the hater? Saint Shill? What does that mean? So let's go back to Saint Shill, who is on the internet, enjoying being a person on the internet today. This is the kind of stuff that I feel like resonates with my personality and the kind of music that I make more. All right, check us out. So let's go like this. The problem with the MA is that it doesn't have relative messaging. so I can't use like a MIDI controller to adjust the sounds. But this is my MA. This is like, when I write in timeline, this is how my head works. This is really fun music to play live. The problem, I can't write that on here. That's the thing. So all right, I guess I'm fighting my own argument. So this kind of music is made on trackers. And I think you need a tracker to write that. To do what I'm doing here, the kind of programming is very fast to achieve these kind of goals. I can make a song like this. I mean, I worked on this stuff this took me a very long time to make. Like, I worked very hard on that music, but I can't make that as easy over here, but it doesn't have this sound quality. So there's something about, like, I know that this is we were trying to make dub techno, we're working on a genre, but there's something about these devices that lend themselves to this, not this music, but designing more of these, like, we're sitting on a pattern and we're gonna play with the sound, you know? We'll go. Like, this is a part of the experience. It's just different, right? It's so much different than the kind of music that you're going to make on a tracker. And trackers lend themselves to making these intense melodic arrangements, whereas it's a lot harder to program in a linear perspective. I think that top-down perspective, with like all these copy and paste, you can very quickly jump in between scenes, and it's just slower here. But the sound quality of a Digitakt and the Digitone is superb, I think, and superior to all other devices. I think with the Electron sequencer and the sound quality here is just superior in general, but I think my workflow for making this kind of, you know, in more intense programmed music is easier on a tracker. And yeah, but I think I love this kind of sound too. It's like very chill. I personally like to have vocals. I think that that's what it's missing. I don't know if that would keep it at dub techno. And I feel like I'm not even, I tried to make dub techno with you guys today, and I don't even know if that's where we're at. I feel like there's something not right about it. Maybe this chord's happening too much. Maybe we make this only happen every now and then. actually sounding better. I think that we've made a couple of improvements here. Maybe we could even have it like... what I really like about working on a tracker is like putting in pitch slides and stuff, but the amount of things that you can modulate on a per step basis on the tracker is 3. You do have more envelopes, and you have tables and stuff like that, so you have some really deep programming things that you can do on a tracker, but there is something about having 16 different parameters. I think there's even more on Digitakt II and Digitone II, but 16 on Digitakt I. And I think it does a lot for you to inspire you, because you can just do so many different changes on a per step basis. I was losing my train of thought. Sorry. I do think that this sounds better now. Maybe it was this is really bugging me. Maybe this just can't play at the same time. I forgot that some stuff that I need to adhere to is not having all your tracks play at once, like taking something out and putting something else in. Like, maybe if I have this play, this one doesn't. See, I want to play like leads. Preset's so nice. Oh, it sounds like that could be pretty good. Just like some random. Oh, my camera turned off over there, so I can't show you the synth, but unfortunately, it just does that. It automatically turns off. It's my fault. But I could just do it on the Digitone. Some ghost notes in here. Hold on, let me loop this one really quick. do like it on 2, I think. All right. We dubbed it. I feel like I feel like we're kind of close to dub techno. But not anymore. Cool. Well, I had fun and hopefully was able to entertain you at the very least for 2 hours. If you watch this whole thing, we've been doing it for about 2.5 hours. Holy smokes, we've been doing this for like 2.5 hours. Well, yeah, well, we wrote some music. Hopefully I'll continue to write this track and maybe it'll turn into the dub techno track. I want to again extend an invitation to join my Discord, which is free, and then also join the compilation that we are doing. There's about 40 something people already doing it. I don't care if there's 100 or 150. We can do a 150 person compilation. I'm going to take all of your dub techno tracks. Please do. It has to be dub techno. It's a dub techno compilation. I'm going to take all the dub techno tracks and I'm just going to embed them on the Modbang website. And then I'm going to share the website with people. So it'll just direct people right back to your music, to your SoundCloud account. So I take nothing. You get everything. I'm just going to share whatever, in any way that I can. So I want to invite you to join the compilation and finish some music. The deadline to join is December 15th. The deadline for submission is December, I don't know, 30th or something. I don't know. I haven't put a deadline on the submission yet, but I'm hoping to release the compilation with everybody's music January 1st. So for New Year's, it was like a New Year's celebration. We all released this playlist of dub techno tracks. A bunch of people, like-minded folks like ourselves who love live hardware electronic music. So again, please join. If you like this kind of content and you want to see this continue to happen on a weekly basis like it usually does, consider joining patreon.com/EZBOT. That's what funds this channel and keeps this going. Or you can just share the videos or just keep coming back to streams. My name's Matthew, aka EZBOT. This has been another episode of Electron Talk, episode 100 or something like that. Look forward to seeing you again later this week. Got a couple videos coming out on these boxes, some tutorials coming out for the Octatrack that are all new. Some new Octatrack tutorials. It's been a long time since we've had an Octatrack tutorial. We've got some new ones coming out in the next week or two, so look forward to that. Otherwise, I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for hanging out. You're the best. I love you. Join the compilation. Make music. Have fun. Don't care what other people are saying. Just do whatever you want. Enjoy your time on the earth. It's limited. Everybody be well.
You